Apple just canceled one of the biggest features for the iPhone 15 this year, and it hurts my heart quite a bit. I want to go over the latest leaks and rumors in today's video because quite a lot has changed over the past few weeks. As always, myself and Shay over at Concept Central, we're hard at work on some new renders to visualize all these changes as well. So if you're excited, it seriously helps me and the channel out if you drop a like, hit subscribe so you stay up to date on the iPhone 15. Let's start off with the bad news because I just want to get that out of the way. One of the longest running rumors for the iPhone 15 was that the buttons were going to be haptic and touch sensitive this year, meaning that they wouldn't actually physically move, they would be solid state similar to the home button on an iPhone 7. And this would have been pretty cool because not only would it make the phones more waterproof, but Apple could have done some additional customization with these through software. And now, according to literally everyone, these just aren't happening anymore. Guo Minchi, Mark Gurman, Unknowns21, Analyst941, Shrimp Apple Pro, and Apple's own supplier, Cirrus Logic, have all confirmed within a matter of 2 weeks that these have been completely canned for 2023. My understanding is that Apple was really close to getting these to work, but there were just some concerns about reliability, so at the last second they canned it, and the old volume buttons are remaining. Although, there is actually some silver lining here. A big part of the rumors about new buttons also talked about how Apple was getting rid of the mute switch and replacing it with a new action button that would be user customizable and remappable to things like the flashlight or the camera for the first time ever. And apparently that's actually still happening. Fingers crossed that we get this because I've wanted a physical button to do whatever I want with on the iPhone pretty much forever. I never thought we'd actually see it, but it seems like on the 15s, that is actually still on the table. Hey, speaking of iPhones, I'm giving away this brand new iPhone 14 Pro to one of you thanks to Whatnot, who sponsored today's video. Whatnot is an app where you get to shop for collectibles and other electronics through live stream videos. Think of it as eBay and Twitch if they were put together, and you can join to get awesome deals on phones, tablets, headphones, and a bunch of Apple products like all of this. And on May 15th specifically, Whatnot is holding an Apple Blowout Day where there are going to be deals for Apple products on the platform all day long. On my live stream, not only am I giving away this iPhone 14 Pro, but everything behind me is up for grabs. There's 6 different AirPods mystery bags, a ton of other buy it now products will be on sale, and I cannot wait to see you when my stream starts on May 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopping on Whatnot is super easy. Just click on my invite link down below in the description and you'll automatically get $10 off your first purchase. Create your account on the web and then download the Whatnot app and log in. And then just bookmark and join my stream. And again, on May 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, this is happening. I'm so excited to see you guys there. I absolutely cannot wait. Thank you to Whatnot for sponsoring. I'll see you on May 15th at 7. Now, let's talk about the iPhone 15 again. Now, that being said, I was sure that EarPods would get canceled this year, considering that on the end, they have a lightning connector and the iPhone is going to USB-C, but apparently that's not the case. And a new rumor from Shrimp Apple Pro says Apple's actually doing the opposite. Not only is Apple keeping the wired EarPods around, they're releasing a new version in 2023 with a USB-C on the end, so you can use it and plug it in wired to the new iPhones. And my only thought is there can't actually be that many people buying these for TikTok, right? Like, I bought them because the microphone is really good, but I'm also just one guy and there's not many people buying these. I don't know, Apple releasing a new pair of wired headphones in 2023, it was not on my bingo card. All right, let's move over to the cameras now on the iPhone 15 because we've gotten some new details about the main feature, the periscope zoom lens. This tech is actually really cool and it originates in submarines. When you're underwater and you need to see above, it goes kind of like that. You can see in this graphic right here. And Apple is basically shrinking that down and putting it sideways in an iPhone to give us a greater level of optical zoom. And for a while, we've been wondering exactly how much zoom we're going to be getting. And according to an update from Guo Minchi, it is going to be between 5 and 6x, which is not as much as I was actually expecting to hear, considering that right now the telephoto lens on the iPhone 14 Pro is 3x. So we're only going to get double optical zoom with this technology. And it sounds kind of bad until you think about the digital aspect. If Apple doubles the optical zoom, that also means we're going to get double the digital zoom as well. And right now that maxes out on 15x on the iPhone 14 Pro, but that could go up to 30 or 40x plus when we get this periscope zoom lens, which means the iPhone will now have a space zoom like lens similar to what Samsung and others have been doing, where you can stand really far away from an object and get an incredibly close, pretty clear photo of what it is. Listen, I hate to admit when Android has done something cool, but the zoom stuff, when it looks good, it looks good. It looks really bad a lot, but if Apple's doing this, I have a feeling they're going to do some pretty cool processing to make these photos look sharp. The catch here is that periscope zoom will be exclusive to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. iPhone 15 Pros not get it, none of the other models are either. And the bad news is that this is also going to continue into next year. Guomenshi has also reported that Apple plans on the iPhone 16 Pro Max to keep the periscope lens exclusive there too. So even in 2024, you gotta spend more money to get periscope zoom, which hurts as somebody who doesn't use the Pro Max model, and I hate the fact that this is probably the year that I'm going to switch over to get the periscope zoom. Apple, please just bring all the features that you put on the Pro Max on the regular Pro. Am I not spending enough at $1,000 to get all the features? Come on, guys. Listen, I just got some small beef with Apple over that, but the EU and Apple are really starting to get at each other's necks about USB-C, and I gotta be real with you guys, it's pretty entertaining to watch. So we've already known for a while that the reason Apple is adding USB-C is to comply with new EU regulations that go into effect in 2024. And they're just doing it a year early to make it look like they're giving it to us and it's not being forced. But at the end of the day, we know what's really happening. But Apple was also trying to be sneaky here because although they were giving us USB-C, they were planning to software limit non-official and Apple regulated made for iPhone cables. So a random cable off of Amazon that wasn't Apple approved would have slower data and charging on the cable. Like, it would just be software limited to be worse than an Apple cable, which personally not a fan of, but Apple can say it is protect the user, whatever. I sort of get that. The point is the EU didn't think that was super cash money of Apple. The EU actually thought that was a pretty bad thing for Apple to do, and they're really upset about it. That's right. The EU has responded to just this rumor alone and has already warned Apple that if they do this, they are going to face a penalty of some kind after the date for all of this to go into law, which is in 2024. My fear is that Apple's going to do this globally and then just remove the software lock on EU. That's my worry. And considering that this doesn't go into effect until the end of 2024, I could see them launching the 15s with these restrictions still. Also, for anybody worried that USB-C is for some reason not going to be present on the iPhone 15 or that that's going to get canceled, there's just no way. We are way too far into development for that to happen. And although apparently very early on in the cycle, Apple was considering putting Lightning on here, that is not the case. USB-C is happening 100%, so no worries there. Next up, we just got our first ever hands-on video with an iPhone 15 Pro Max dummy unit thanks to Lou over at Unbox Therapy. And I will say, while this dummy unit does seem to be pretty sloppily thrown together with the sides looking completely off and the wrong volume buttons, there are a couple things to take away here. Number one, the dynamic island does appear to be getting ever so slightly smaller this year, and that's because Apple is moving the proximity sensor to under the display instead of part of the dynamic island. I didn't actually think the island would look smaller, but it does in this dummy unit. The second thing is the bezels going around the display, which are legitimately insane. The iPhone 14 Pro Max's bezels were already super thin, and the 15 Pro Max just takes those to another level, legitimately breaking records, and this will have the thinnest bezels of any phone ever. Yeah, aside from those two things, though, the dummy units look pretty rough, so just ignore the rest of it. There'll be more accurate dummy units coming out in the next couple of weeks. Now, obviously in this video, we've talked mostly about the Pro models and the Pro Max, but the standard models are coming too. There's going to be an iPhone 15 with a 6.1-inch screen and a new iPhone 15 Plus with a 6.7-inch screen. And we've got some new details about these lower end phones that make them pretty compelling. Not only are these getting the same new slightly curved design language of the 15 Pros, Apple's also throwing the dynamic island on here. And according to this new rumor from a source over on Chinese social network Weibo, the frosted back glass is also going to make its way here. The frosted glass has been a Pro exclusive feature since it debuted on the iPhone 11 Pro in 2019, and I've genuinely loved it since day one. It feels really nice and really premium. Also, that color blue that you're seeing, that's an actual rumor that this is coming to the 15 standard models. We're getting a new cyan color along with a new pink as well that we've had reported previously. So the colors this year are going to be fire. I feel like we've had misses on the standard models for years on colors, and I'm so ready for some bright, in-your-face, super dope punchy colors in the 15s. If all the things that are rumored to come to the standard 15s actually end up happening, those phones are going to be really good. It's not going to be a situation where it's super black and white that everyone should get the Pros in 2023, and I kind of like that Apple's adding some interesting stuff to the standard models. Another report also says that Apple is going to be using the same latest generation OLED materials across the entire iPhone 15 lineup, and the iPhone 15 Pros will not be a generation ahead as they have been on the 14 series. Now, to be clear here, the LTPO variant variable refresh rate display that's still staying on the Pros, so don't expect an always on display or 120 hertz, unfortunately, on the standard models. But it sounds like as far as resolution and clarity, that's going to be 1-to-1 between the Pros and the non-Pros, which is sick. Now, finally, something that we don't talk about a lot is where iPhones are made, which forever has been in China. Apple has basically set all of their production there, and we saw how when COVID hit and China has shut down on and off for the past 2 or 3 years, that Apple got into a bit of a tricky situation there and couldn't get products out as much as they wanted to. So according to this new report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, Apple is putting a huge focus on India in the near future, and for the first time ever at launch, a bunch of iPhone 15s will be shipped directly from India to around the world. I know this doesn't sound like a big change, but Apple has never at launch shipped phones from anywhere but China. So the fact that they're doing this from 2 countries for the first time ever shows that they are really confident and tripling, quadrupling down on their India strategy. I mean, they just opened up 2 or 3 new retail stores in the country for the first time ever. And generally, it just seems like a really good time to be an Apple fan in India. Let me know if you guys live in India, if you've gone to these new Apple stores. They look really cool. And yeah, I don't know. I think iPhones coming from more countries and more places, that's a good idea. That seems like a good idea in business to diversify. Is the number one business guy here. I agree. And if you want to know something about business, you should come buy a ticket to my live show where I'm going to be live in San Francisco in person on Tuesday, June 6th, the day after WWDC, to talk all about Apple's announcements, the new headset, and so much more. I'm going to be there with John Prosser, Luke Miani, and Noah Rubin to go over everything. Tickets are on sale right now at geniusbargoesdark.com. We cannot wait to meet you guys. I cannot wait to meet you guys. You're the best. Oh, and as always, a huge thank you to Concept Central, Shay over there, for helping me with all of the renders. Please go subscribe to his channel. He does an absolutely phenomenal job. His renders are simply unlike anyone else's, and there's a reason I work with him. So thank you guys for watching. I know this video was a lot, but I love you, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.